Wondering what's next in your business or personal life? Welcome to Success to Significance, Life After Breaking Through Glass Ceilings, a podcast dedicated to helping you with all of life's challenges, discoveries, and opportunities. Whether you're seeking a new career, retirement, or simply wanting to make an impact in your community or the world. Join Jen Du Plessis and her guests as they explore how to start, what to do when you're in the thick of a change or growth, and how to leave a mark in this world after breaking through your next achievement. You are moments away from the aha you've been seeking.
Well, hello there, and welcome back to Success to Significance, Life After Breaking Through Glass Ceilings. I'm your host, Jen Du Plessis, as if you didn't know, because you listen all the time. But I want to say thank you for listening, first of all, for taking time out of your busy day to listen to me and our guests as we share all kinds of ways that people have broken through glass ceilings, whether they're, relationships, weight loss, weight gain, drinking, smoking, business, you name it, any kind of glass ceiling that someone has. And it's so true that we have glass ceilings virtually every day, right? If you have a problem, it's a ceiling. It's a ceiling to break through. So I want to bring on our guest. I'm so excited to have JJ here with us because I've known him for a couple of years, but we've never sat down and talked at all until now. Hey, hi, how are you? All the friendly things. We have some stuff in common, dancing, different levels, different types. But I'm so excited to have you here, JJ, on the show. Welcome.
Well, thank you so much, Jen. I really appreciate it. I'm excited to share space with you here and for your listeners to be able to add value in any way that I can. And also to have that conversation that's been long overdue.
Yeah, for me to find out a little bit about you. So let's get started with you telling us a little bit about you. I have a bio. We talked in the green room. It's very long, so we're going to put it in the show notes. But I'm going to have you do the condensed version of, this is me. This is who JJ is.
Beautiful. Well, the condensed version, I would love to say, is I am somebody who helps bring out the best in other people and seeing the light inside of them. Most often than not, it's before they actually acknowledge it for themselves in regards to the things that I've done or do. I've been a performer for a majority of my life for over 30 years in the Hollywood and Los Angeles entertainment industry as a choreographer, dancer, producer, director. I spent the last 7 years of my dance career as a artist, original dancer for Michael Jackson 1, Cirque du Soleil, as well as one of the choreographers for the show in Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas.
Which I've seen.
Unfortunately,
Yeah, and it could have been you. It could have been you when I saw it. I don't remember. It's been a while. Unfortunately, I had an accident there that ended my onstage performance career, which was a really big blessing in disguise now that I see it, talking about glass ceilings. Then I didn't see it as a blessing, but now, it propelled me into a new trajectory where I'm at right now as not only a keynote and motivational speaker, creative artist, which I will always remain being, and a transformational coach, helping people, for those that have either lost their way, their identity, or just find themselves not loving where their life is at the moment and wanting something so much more and just not knowing how to get there. So that's what I do. I help people live happier, healthier, more abundantly. That's awesome. And, the thing I love about you is that you always have a smile on your face. Of course, we're performers, right? And whenever we are in the same room, we're usually at a place where one of us is, both of us are speaking, right, on stage. So we're kind of performing all the time. And so again, this is a good opportunity for us to see each other, not in that so-called performance mode, but what keeps you staying happy and staying motivated? What is it that allows for you to do that? I'm hoping that what we see on stage is what happens behind the scenes, and I'm sure it is. But what are some of the things that keep you motivated, and not really tips for other people, but just, what helps you keep motivated, and why do you need to share this or want to share this or have a passion for sharing this with the rest of the world?
Well, I actually love that question and that perspective because for the longest time, it was an act.
Yeah.
And as performers, we're always on. I was taught at an early age that the moment that you leave the house, you got to turn on that light switch, because you never know who you're going to run into, and you never know who you're going to see or what connection you can make. And formerly, as an entertainer, I used to be a very transactional person. And when you see life from a different lens, and you realize that life is easily taken away from you, from the glitz, the glamour, the glory, and it doesn't matter how hard you work for something, that you're on borrowed time. And once you experience what that is, it gives you kind of a big humble pie and a reality check. And fortunately for me, I had that in a very deep, dark way, to where it served me the humble pie, to now I went from being a transactional person to a very intentional person. And so my joy of being on this earth, having made an attempt to take my own life after losing everything, I saw the world differently. And there's something that I really firmly believe in, and you've probably heard this phrase too: live your life as though it was the last day on earth. And when I have experienced that, and knowing that my last day on earth was coming by my own will, I realized that I was living in lack and in sorrow, and holding on and trying to savor every single moment for the wrong reasons. And so I reframed that for me to live every day as if though it was my first day on earth. And so when you see me, it's what you see on stage, around people, even in the privacy of my own home, or when the doors are closed, it's the same thing, because I appreciate life differently. And that's pretty much a big part of the message that I want to share with people.
Yeah, I love that. And we're going to dive deeper into that too. Was the knee, wasn't it your knee? I thought it was your knee that you injured.
No, that was one of the major injuries. Yeah. I mean, 7 years in Cirque du Soleil, I had about 4 concussions, 2 surgeries, but what did me in was I ruptured 2 discs in my back, which was the end of my performing career.
Was that the turning point where you had said, now what? Because maybe you didn't have a plan B, everything was going to be like this, you were going to see it forever, doing that forever. Was that the turning point that took you down the path of making those final decisions, for your life? Or was it? Because, and the reason why I'm asking this, go ahead.
Sorry. Yes, no, it was the catalyst of it, if I'm really honest, because what actually really, the thing that broke the camel's back per se, was after that injury, after I'd gone through weeks of depression. I had just gotten out of the hospital, and I had some serious epidural shots in my spine so that I could start being able to walk. And it was actually on my 40th birthday. I was laying on the couch in my living room, and I realized I hadn't had a single phone call from a friend or a family member, or cast members, and all these people that I spend so many years supporting, loving on, and sharing space with, thinking that I had built this persona and this figure that people were quote unquote supposed to like, love, and appreciate. And I didn't get a single phone call of appreciation or a happy birthday. And I remember the specific moment was army crawling from my couch to the kitchen, and being able to open up the refrigerator to be able to feed myself with my service dog helping drag me to that. I realized, I can't believe, after everything I've lived through in my life, this is where I'm at.
Yeah.
And at that moment, I realized that I had built something that was just so fake and so empty, that it just took a turn for the worse. And that right there was the actual moment where I said, my life's got to change.
Yeah. It's interesting because, it's like a life of 1,000 cuts, right? A 1,000 cuts of death, or whatever they call it, the phrase. Yeah. And the reason why I was asking that question is something you had said in the beginning about what you do is, when I remember the game when you were little and you played that kind of stacking hand game, and everybody, played that game. Well, hopefully, I mean, I remember it. but as kids, you put,
I played it.
About like 5 of you get together and the last hand on the bottom and everything. It almost feels like it's a stacking thing that happens with the lack of gratitude. It's not, my dog threw up on the carpet, and then I dropped the milk out of the fridge, and then I didn't get a client. It's not one thing. It seems like it's an accumulation of it. I'm trying to think of another word, of a compounding effect for it, right? Yes. And if you don't address it, it becomes so heavy, it becomes this burden. So how do we address it quickly so that it doesn't become a stack? It's just one, hey, that's life. One thing happened. That's okay. What can I learn from the negative gratitude? I don't even know if that's a word. I was saying, what would I learn from the thing that I thought went wrong? There's got to be positive gratitude in it. I mean, this is how I live. I reanalyze my life or my day every day, and I go, I'm thankful for the great stuff. Thanks for the sales. Thanks for the opportunity to speak. Thanks for having the great podcast. Thanks for this. Thanks for the great food. That's how most people think about gratitude. But they don't look at, and they go, oh, I don't want to see the negative stuff. I'm going to have the blinders on. But I actually go for that. And I learned it from someone as a guest on the podcast. I go for that, and thankful for them. But I go for that negative and say, okay, yeah, I lost that sale. But what did I learn that I can use to get 5 more? So what are some things that people could do to increase their awareness when they're stacking and not realizing it until they're like, oh God, it's heavy on my shoulders?
Absolutely. I think that, you said a really key point of it is asking the powerful question of, what can I learn from this? How can I grow from it? How can I utilize it for not only myself and to help shed light to others to avoid the same pitfalls that I may have gone through? Mm-hmm. I think that for me is one of the most important, valuable lessons that has allowed me to remove the stack, if you will, as you so illustrated. Not to get too spiritual, religious. I'm
okay with that. It's okay.
I call it not answering God's knock at the door, because it's almost like every time something is happening, it's the universe, God, whatever it is anyone believes in, a higher source, they're just slightly tapping you, saying there's something you're not paying attention to. You're not listening. And, I believe that what you resist persists. Mm-hmm. And the more that you ignore it, it's like more signs from different directions are showing up in your life in a similar way that is going to provide us the same sensation or feeling or emotion that gets you into this, what I would call the negative stacking, for you to actually pay attention until you break. Yeah. And for me in that perspective, it was one of those things that I had to hit the lowest of low, so that I can really do a deep dive in myself. I truly believe that life happens for me, not to me, something I learned from my mentor, Tony Robbins. And when I really was able to understand what that meant, I started looking at things differently, because it's easy to be grateful for all the great things, but to truly be grateful for the bad. Because when you start looking at everything that has ever happened that is great in your life, if you really dissect it, somehow it came from a learning lesson, a valuable hit in the road, or a bump, or whatever you call it, that then you really didn't know if you can handle it, if you could overcome it, if you were able to learn from it, or it really put you in a dark place. And somehow all of these pain points and all these struggles is what really builds, whether it's the tenacity, the drive, the hunger, the will, the strength and confidence for you to achieve and be able to handle the greatness that's always designed for you. And so when now things like that, obviously I can speak now in this moment, but back then I didn't have these psychology tools where I could look at something and I take something bad. I'm human. I'll still react to it. And then I'll go, oh, wait, no, hold on. This is amazing.
Yes.
This is, what? This is brilliant. My first words are always, how am I going to help somebody else with this? And
Yeah.
so when I take myself out of the equation, to your primary question of how do I handle it, is I remove myself from the actual circumstance or situation, and I pose it as being a coach. Okay, how can I help somebody else when they go through this, or if they have a similar story to this? Because now I'm seeing it from a different lens and I'm removing the emotional component of it. Obviously, I don't want to sweep my emotion under the rug. I'll give myself time to deal with it. But at the end of the day, I believe, and at the risk of sounding arrogant, I believe that I was put on this earth with a strength that most people wouldn't be able to endure what I've endured, because I was built different so I can help more people.
Yeah. Yeah. Resilience. I mean, that's one of the things I'm known for, is that resilience, having an awful childhood, right? I mean, not awful, but very bad, very bad childhood. Yeah, I think that's really interesting. What you're talking about, what I'm hearing you say is self-coaching, right? You're coaching yourself. You're saying, okay, so rather than me just, kind of absorbing this and going, oh, woe is me, and this happens to me, and this always, I mean, simple stuff like my daughter, she drops everything. She drops. And every time she drops, she goes, I drop everything. And I just like, then stop saying you drop everything. Just stop saying it.
Yeah.
And you won't drop everything. I promise it works. And, so I think that the self-coaching, is really very interesting, because it's just, it's saying, okay, so, what do I need to do? And how can I, I love that you say you take yourself out and say, how would I help someone who called me with the same thing? Because I would answer differently, because, as coaches, and we're coached, right? And my coach said to me about 6 months ago, we were talking about something, and he said, don't you coach on this? And I go, yeah, shush. I don't want to hear it, But then he went right after that and said, you know what? It happened to me about a year ago too. I was talking to my mentor, and my mentor and coach said the same thing. Don't you coach on this? And I went, yeah, I do. Never mind. Because we just can't see our own ears, and so I think that, yeah, I think it's pretty,
You can't see the picture from inside the frame. So
yes, yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. I love that. So, as you're, you had this glass ceiling that you broke through, right? And you got all cut up on the way and everything, but then you're on the other side. Now you're looking down and helping others reach through there and saying, this is the safe way to go. This is the great way to go. What is your message as we head into, because as we're recording this, and we'll be releasing it before the end of the year, as we're recording this right before Thanksgiving, what is your message for people that say, okay, look, I've compounded all of this. I've got a stack of issues. I've got a stack of negatives. I've got a stack of lack of confidence. I'm just, maybe I'm not worthy, just sort of circling the drain. And going in that direction and saying, you know what, I just want to say goodbye to 2023, and I want to go to 2024 all fresh, but I don't have any work to do in between, right? Well, what I'm asking you is, what is the work they need to do in between? What do they need to do besides dream that, hey, goodbye, I can't wait? If you don't do any work here, that's what I mean by they don't have any work. They don't have anything to do. How do you, what do you suggest that people do to release the baggage, release the negativity, swipe it off so that they can start fresh in 2024? And that's the first part of the question. The second is, what's your message for 2024? Are you there yet where you're saying, I see this coming, this will be the thing next year?
Yes to all of that. This is fantastic and one of my favorite topics, because I believe that, much like a relationship, if you've ever gone, well, I mean, you're blessed to be married for so many years to a wonderful man. But for those of us that are not there and are in either the dating pool or going in and out of relationships, it's like going from one bad relationship to the other. The common denominator is you. And so what I help people see is not to blame themselves, but to accept responsibility for themselves. And here's why. and I'm very careful when I use these words, because a lot of people, when they blame themselves for everything, they go into a negative mindset, and it's a victim mentality, and they're now problem focused rather than solution focused.
Yeah.
And the basis of this principle is, if you accept responsibility and know that it is your doing for all the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything else in between, even if it has nothing to do with you, the power that you give yourself is that you are the only one that can get yourself out of it. And you're not relying on anybody else to help you find the solution to anything. Even though we need help from others, you are not reliant on somebody else to do the work for you. And so for me, the first thing that I would tell anybody is take accountability for everything, good and bad, in your life, because that now empowers you to know how to get out of it. The second thing is learn how to be able to master powerful questions. I firmly believe that, shitty questions start with why. Why didn't I get this job? Why did my husband or my wife leave me? Or whatever the case may be. And I believe that if you're able to empower yourself with powerful questions like who, what, or how, you make declarations to the universe that this is now a solution-based mindset, and you can now take what you're responsible for, find the solution, and ask for help if you need it. And I guess to sum it all up, it really is become the person you see for yourself before you ever become it. It's in entertainment. We use this phrase that, now there's a lot of people, there's a controversy between people that understand the phrase, or people say that this is like one of the worst phrases ever created, which is fake it till you make it. For me, it's, if you think about that phrase, I believe that phrase means we're just buying ourselves time when you do the work, right? Fake it till you make it doesn't mean for me to fake something that you're not. It's like when we're kids, we all pretend to be firemen or police officers or nurses or doctors and this and that, and some actually become that. It's like, were they pretending or were they faking? And obviously we're talking about semantics here, but if you really put it in a different perspective, if you are able to see a vision for yourself, let's say you're down and out, like in my situation, I was down and out. I made an attempt on my life. Luckily I failed miserably, which was great. However, I had to sit and look in the mirror and understand that I had built the life that I was in, accept and assume responsibility for everything good, bad, and the ugly. And then I had to ask myself, well, what do I want to become? And I had to take on that role like an actor before I ever became that. I was pretending that I was a speaker and a coach, and helping people, truly helping people, before I ever actually started doing it as business or actually making true and changeable impact in other people. And so what I would leave with others walking into 2024, it's, don't wait till that New Year's, the stroke of midnight to hit, and all of a sudden you're going to lose that weight, stop smoking those cigarettes, you stop drinking, or be a better spouse, or whatever the case may be. It doesn't change at the stroke of midnight. If anything, if you've got an idea beforehand, you better start now, or you should have already started implementing characteristical traits that is going to take on the new identity, so that at the strike of midnight, you're already ahead of the game in becoming who you want to become. Because if you can't become that beforehand, you'll never become that in the end.
Yeah. I think it's interesting that people wait for a magic date instead of, the magic decision. Like, I made the decision, so let's do it. And you and I were talking in the green room too, is that I run my year, everything I do, my journal, everything is October to September, right? October 1st to September 30th. And that's a business mentality. But the reason I do it is because I know during the holidays, it's going to be the best time for me to create new habits. It's not going to be at the beginning of the year. I'm not, and I can create new habits, create new relationships, start new businesses, start promoting a new coaching program, a new, mastermind. I can start that all so that it hits the ground running January 1st, rather than going, okay, so now it's January 1st. Now I can work. It's kind of like what Greg says, right? With the one size, one side this, one side that. And I just think you make the decision and move forward. I mean, I think that's the easiest way to do it. So I have some follow-up questions. And by the way, I like fake it till you make it. I don't see anything wrong with that. My daughter told me that I taught her this phrase, which I don't remember, but I maybe I did. I always told her, dress for the job you want. Always dress for the job you want. And that's really what you're talking about here, is act as if you already have the role. Start acting as if you already have the role. And then that it will become that. Okay. So here's a question I want to ask. This really aligns a lot with why. Now I've solved this problem. I got it, but I'm going to use it as an example. When we say, what's your why? And people say, what is your why? So many people are lost. They don't understand the why. And I've solved that. I've solved it on this podcast 1,000 times. We've all talked about it. So anybody who's listening, you just go back in and find something about it. But I don't want to ask you about the why, but I do want to ask you about the accountability. Because when you say hold yourself accountable, so it to me, I'm going, okay, so it's November 20th, and I have decided I'm going to hold myself accountable for everything that didn't go right, and let it be written, let it be done. There's got to be more to it. So share with us a little bit more on how you unpack that a little.
So for me, one of the things that I do to help hold myself accountable, if for anybody that follows me on social media, primarily on Instagram, I speak into existence the things that I am working towards and the things that I am needing accountability for, because I call it pride, call it ego. I don't like to fail. And even though I only believe that failing is when you stop trying, because we learn from our failures. However, I use any means necessary so that when the word is out into the universe, well, one, I know that God's watching. That's the most important one for me. I want to be accountable for my word. I was taught at a young age that, without your word, what good are we? And two, when people who follow me or encourage me or support me, they ask, and I don't want to look like an ass and be like, oh, well, and here's my 1 millionth excuse of why I didn't work on it.
Right.
And if for whatever reason, something really, life happens, then I say that, but I also hold myself accountable to not cushion the reason why I didn't follow through. And so it serves in two ways. One, it helps me keep pushing through when I don't want to. And two, if I don't for any reason, it holds me accountable to be real with not only myself, but others of why I chose it or why I didn't follow through with it. And it's a humble pie to be able to say to somebody, you know what, I just, I don't want it bad enough. And I've learned this. I really learned this. When we say that we're set out to do something and we really don't follow through with it, it's because we didn't want it bad enough. But we convince ourselves to believe that we really did, and we make up this whole web of lies for ourselves to keep ourselves motivated or inspired. But if you truly do the work, you'll find out that if you really, really wanted it, you would have done it.
Yeah. Well, and I think instead of having all the excuses, saying, you know what, I thought I wanted it, but I didn't want it bad enough. I'd made a decision that it wasn't something I wanted to pursue anymore.
Exactly.
I mean, just say what it is.
Even in that direction.
Yeah.
Even in that direction, you learn something.
Yeah.
Because while you're going in one direction of wanting to achieve said goal, even if you stop, you learn something that might have propelled you into a better direction for the goal you were meant to be on.
Yeah.
So that's why I believe life is always happening for you.
Yeah. Well, and as Darren Hardy always says, it's these seemingly insignificant, choices and decisions and actions that we take that make the biggest impact. And, there's digging your feet in the ground, right? And planting roots and saying, but I told everybody I was going to write a book, and by God, I'm going to write it if it kills me. No, I got down a certain point of the road and realized this is the wrong road. I turned back and went someplace else. It's okay. This is what God gave us, was free will, decision making. So allow for you to make the decision and stop worrying about everybody else, because I think that's where it comes from. But, look, some of this comes with age, right? So for someone who's listening, who let's say is under 40, I can speak like that because my daughter and my son are, who's under 40, and they're saying, yeah, you guys, I think this does come with age. I think that we, finally fall into our own at, between 40 and 55, we start going, you know what? I don't care what people say. I don't care what people think, right? I mean, to a certain degree, but what do you say to someone who's young and saying, yeah, but I want to, I want to be on TikTok. I want to have 1 million followers. By the way, I know a lot of people who have 1 million followers who make less than $50,000 a year. So it's not about that, but it's the realization of what do you want? What is success to you? What are your dreams? Not what everyone else thinks your dreams should be, but your dreams. How do you snap yourself out of that FOMO? I'm going to call it FOMO. That's exactly what it is.
I think especially for this younger generation that I would say fortunately and unfortunately grew up with the social media craze that we all live in now. Because, like you, I'm in that over 40 club where I use social media because it's part of the business, not because it's my preference. I'd rather not, but I know that for me to stay with the times, I gotta be with the times.
Yeah.
And so for those that are in the younger space, it really is defining what significance is going to make them feel worthy. And if they really are able to dissect, and I would encourage anybody at any age, to really start learning the emotional mastery for themselves and have emotional intelligence to understand who they are. And I work with teenagers all the way up to Fortune 500 CEOs. And the same thing goes across the board in just different spectrums and different levels of problems. But at the end of the day, it's what is your self-worth? What do you think about yourself? What really matters to you? And right now we live in this era where our validation is created by likes, follows, comments, DMs, and numbers versus true, profound and tangible things that at the end of the day, like, when you're on a couch after a hospital on a 40th birthday or any birthday, and you're really down and out, are all these people that you believe are there for you, love and care for you, are they truly there?
Yeah.
Like, are they going to show up at your doorstep without ever wanting anything in return and being there for you in a way that's going to be monumental for your life and beneficial for your life? And the problem I see is, the younger generation now thinks that that's what's happening on social media. But when they don't have clout, when they don't have follows, when they don't have cash, when they don't have looks, it's all gone. And the quicker that, me personally, I'd love to help them see that, not to take them away from it. If they want to use it, but to truly understand that emotional mastery at a level where it's like, okay, who am I without all of this? If right now an apocalypse or another pandemic or everything were to shut down, the Y2K would have actually happened, there's no electronics, there's no connection to anybody, what's my life actually worth? What value do I really bring to the world?
Yeah.
And how am I going to truly show up for myself and those that are around me?
It's funny you say that. Even though, look, I'm going to use my phone, it's technology, to call people because I don't have a line anymore. Nobody does, right? A phone in a house. But it's, I'm going to talk about something. This is, my birthday will be here in a couple days. And one of the things I don't like, and I have taken my birthday off of social media because I don't like all the happy birthday from people I have no clue who they are. And that's the only time I've heard from them is they feel like they have to be part of some group thing. It's not, I don't get impressed by, last year I had like 580 happy birthdays and God knows how many likes and whatever. It doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is the 3 phone calls I got. I got 3 phone calls from other than family, right? 3 phone calls other than family. Bill Walsh was one of them.
Nice.
Bill Walsh was one of them who called me. I got a video from somebody that was a canned video for everybody in the month of November. Right.
That's cool.
Right. And I got a call from another colleague friend of mine in another call. But those made more of an impact than any number that someone would put on there. And so I get it. I totally get what you're saying. And my husband's been through a traumatic brain injury in the last, 2.5 years ago. He went through a traumatic brain injury. And, all of a sudden, like everybody scattered, not everybody, but a lot of people scattered like roaches when you turn on the lights. They're like, oh, that's kind of funky. I don't like being around it. Da, 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 da. And, okay, I'll remember you. That's okay. Right when the day is done, I'll remember you. I'm still going to pray for you, but I'm going to remember you, and I think that's very important. I think that what you're saying about, it's really just taking an inventory, instead of having the blinders on, it's taking inventory of everything. And then, moving forward. It could be a Ben Franklin. It could be, these are all the cons, but look at all the great things that are coming forward. And how can I manifest those even more? And I think that's wonderful. So anyway, that was a long story. Okay. So
no, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. I would say even this, and don't get me wrong, I love my family, even though we don't have a great relationship, but much like either my family or friends, what you just said is they're filling their gratitude quota by those phone calls, by those text messages, the yearly Merry Christmas or a Happy New Year or Happy Birthday, versus those that actually make time out of their day to truly connect with you. So I couldn't agree more. But you said something that's interesting, where it comes with age. And I don't necessarily believe that it's just because of the age. I think that it's just the time that we write out something. We're I guess call it age or call it time. But it's like when you're with somebody long enough, you'll see them go through all their colors of the rainbow to see what kind of person they're going to be. And maybe you're right. Maybe it is age, because the longer you're around, the more colors you're going to see. And and I think that friendship and authenticity is truly only tested through time.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely think it is. Yeah. I love it. What are you most proud of in your life?
Every person I've truly been able to impact and to help change their lives. Like a lot of people don't know this about me. I used to be a former high school teacher in the LAUSD district and Orange County. I used to teach marching bands and color guards and assistant band director in East LA. And still to this day, I will get emails and phone calls and snail mail from some of the former students that I took from freshman to senior and watched them grow and see them as grown adults with families and careers. And they'll still thank me to this day of being who they are because of the lessons they learned throughout my teachings, and I don't know that many teachers that would have an entire class. When I was performing at Cirque, I had I think the class of 97 or something like that. Yeah, class of 1997. The entire class come out to watch my show.
Oh, wow.
With their kids, their families, their spouses. Like it was such a beautiful thing. We had this big feast. They all came and spent time in my home, and they would all go one by one sharing stories of how being a part of my teachings and what they learned through those years has helped their life. So to your question is every life I've made an impact.
on,
Yeah.
and those that are still to come.
Right.
That's what I'm
And
a
some
fan
you'll
of.
never know. I mean, some you never will. And I know
Yeah.
you've experienced it. I have two people have come up and said, oh my gosh, this one thing you said 2 years ago on some stage changed my life. And you're like, wow, had no idea. You're
Yeah,
right. It's the humility that goes with
absolutely.
it. We all have teachers that I have several teachers that I know impacted me, in high school. And if I got the chance to chat with them, I've looked them up, and the names are too familiar. It's one of those things that probably passed on anyway. Now that I'm 60, oh my God, so they probably passed on. But I think that's wonderful. I have a side question I have to ask you. What you were a band director? Did you play instruments as well?
No, system band director for one of the schools that I was
Yeah.
working with their color guard. I
Oh yeah,
went
I
through
know.
color guard
Mhm,
in
mhm.
high school, and I
Yeah.
actually acquired 3 world championship titles
Oh, that's
doing
great.
that.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
so I
that's
kind of
great.
got in through the loophole before, like, the whole teaching credentials and stuff,
Yeah.
because I had world championship titles. Different band programs wanted me to come in and help with their
Yeah.
artistic team.
Yeah.
So I got in back door.
Oh, that's beautiful. Were the color guard, were they the just the not just the were they the flag twirling color
Yep.
guard? Yep. Okay.
Flag,
I've been
rifle,
on both.
sabers.
That's what I was saying. I've been on both
Yeah.
because I've done rifle and flag and cheerleading. Right, I've done it all. Yeah, so that's kind of fun. That's cool. That is so cool. I didn't know that.
We've got more in common than we think.
I know. Yeah, we definitely. Well, I played flute and piccolo and saxophone. I still do. I play flute, piccolo, and saxophone. But I played in the Colorado Springs Symphony when I was in high school.
Oh wow, that's
I
amazing.
was really good. I was really, really good. And now it's my alcoholism, right? Like if I've had a bad day, I'll pull my flute out, and my husband will come home and I'm playing something. He's like, oh boy.
Now that I know this, you're gonna have to carry your flute for the
No,
next
I don't
event
think
that we
so.
end up with.
I don't think so. No, I'm classically trained. I have to read music, and I can play Mary Had a Little Lamb and do scales for you, but that's about it. Um, that's it. But I can read all kinds of music. Yeah. Yeah, I think
I
that's
love
really
that.
cool. Okay, I have one last question for you. So if anybody, if anyone, one of the listeners, myself or one of the listeners were to come and visit with you for an entire weekend, what would our weekend be? What would you be doing with us?
Well, that's a difficult question because it would depend on what somebody wants to achieve, whether they want to learn, overcome, gain. It just depends. Primarily, most people that come in my sphere of influence, they think that all I do is motivate or inspire people, which is one of the things that I do. However, I really believe that what I create and I offer is transformation for people and helping them find their best self. And I do that, as I mentioned before, having been a competitive world champion performer and an artist. Like, you've got to be the 0.01% of the world to be at the elite level of Cirque du Soleil for what we do. And I take those same skills and discipline and endurance and teachings, and I break it down into being able to push somebody to their limits. I love being able to show somebody how easy it is to pass your own limits that you've set for yourself, because that's what I think that the most growth comes in. I believe that we've all been conditioned throughout our entire life to believe that we can only get this far, we're this good, make this much money. And it's all this facade and this painted picture by everything and everyone around us, that we never truly dive deep enough to ask ourselves, what am I actually capable of? Can I really take it past that breaking point where, I see it as kind of like when you think of like the Navy SEALs, if you will. I secretly am like MI6, right?
Yeah.
In my mind, I'm like Tom Cruise, MI6. I try to enlist when I was younger. That didn't work out, but I would have loved to go through that training, because the idea of somebody breaking everything about you to its core so that you could truly blossom
back up.
for what God's gift was put inside of you.
Yeah.
That's what I love taking somebody through. So that would probably be, in everybody's individual way, what their weekend would be like with me.
Okay, so let me rephrase the question. Thank you so much for answering that. What are we going to go do? What are we going to do?
Live life. We would go swim with sharks, jump out of planes. We
Oh, God.
would
Nope, not coming.
we would read things that we would never think of reading. We
Yeah.
would go and do embarrassing stuff in public. We
Like
would
dance.
go and public speak. We would go dance. We would
Right.
anything that you would normally say no to, we would probably be doing.
Awesome. That's awesome. Except for the sharks and jumping out of the plane. I'll do iFly, but I won't do the plane.
It's there's a beautiful thing that happens to you when you say yes to something you would normally say no to.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, iFly for me, when we did Prosperity Camp a couple of years ago, iFly for me was really risky. Really risky.
No kidding.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, a colleague of ours always asks people, and I started asking people too. I said, can I take this question and ask? And she said, oh, absolutely. And her question is, when was the last time you did something for the first time? And, you know, it's amazing because that goes in line with that. And I thought, oh, I did iFly. I would never have done that, right? Never. But, and then I hurt my neck while I was doing it because of the air, you know what I mean? But it was still fun. It was a blast doing it. I love it. All right. So I'm going to ask you the last question. Let's see. What am I going to ask you? What do you want to leave everybody with? Do you have a quote? Do you have a mantra? Do you have something that you'd like to share and leave with everyone as they're thinking about how to let go of the past? You know, that there's a reason the rear view window is smaller than the front, right? Because we're going to look in the past and go, okay, it's gone. It's small. Don't drag it around. It's not a ball and chain. What do you want to leave everybody with?
There's three things in particular that I live my life by. One is those that fail are those that choose to fail. Two is success is not achieved by a single individual, but by a group of people that believe in the same thing. And the third and most valuable that I've been teaching people is the concept of own it, do it, done. And what that means is own everything in your life. Own every relationship, own every mistake, own every success, every trial, and everything else in between. Do what's necessary. Do the unthinkable. Do the uncomfortable. Do the things that you would see other people do to get the things that they have that you would only dream of. And make the commitment to yourself to just get it done.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that. What's the best way for us to reach you, JJ?
Best way would be Instagram. You can follow my journey and teachings on at The Real JJ Villar on Instagram. I'm also on all major platforms, but that's the one that I predominantly use the most. Or you can go to my website, jjvillarcoaching.com.
Awesome. I'm taking note because I don't think we ever got it. So we got it now. Got it written down. There we go. JJ, it's been a pleasure to get to know you better. I can't wait to see you. Am I going to see you in December?
Yeah, for Greg's party.
Yep, I'll be there for the party and the mastermind, and then we'll see you again in January for Prosperity Camp, hopefully. And
yes,
looking forward to it. Yeah, looking forward to it. All right, listen, have a great holiday season. I'll see you in a couple of weeks, I guess. And thank you so much. This is the third time's a charm and us getting together.
Thank you so much for having me, and I appreciate your time and sharing space with you again.
Absolutely. Talk to you soon, JJ. Everybody, thank you so much for
Sure.
listening in, taking time out of your busy day. I want to remind you, please give us, all you have to do is move your finger, move your thumb, scroll down and give us a great 5-star rating and write a beautiful comment about what JJ talked about, how it impacted you, what action you're going to take, an aha moment. And then don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, where you'll find everything about Success to Significance, everything about Lady Jen Du Plessis, and everything about Mortgage Lending Mastery, which is my other podcast. So we look forward to catching you on the next episode of Success to Significance. Have a great day.
You've been listening to Success to Significance with Jen Du Plessis, the #1 podcast for people wanting to give more value and make an impact. Loved this episode? Be sure to subscribe right now at www.jenduplessis.com/S2S for more stories, strategies, and thoughts to help you gain significance and success. And if you like what we're doing, don't forget to give us a rating and review so we can continue to bring you the best content possible. Join us next week for another breakthrough episode. Thank you for listening.